Hi everyone. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Want to make sure that I actually see y'all in your comments correctly. It's taking a moment to come up today. There you are. Hi. So, um, if you're here, say hi. Hi, Atoy. So today we're going to continue our video series. Like, how have you been liking it so far? Has this been helpful to you to talk about the elements of living? In what ways have they helped you out? Have they assisted you and created some more ease and clarity? Any aha moments? Keep letting me know about the aha moments. I love seeing your feedback and your comments in the chat and questions. Yeah, what questions you have. Today we're going to be talking about the code breakers, and this one was way in the lead in the poll that you guys filled out. So thank you. It's pinned in the under featured or announcements, and I'm going to put another poll shortly for next week. But it was really good to have such a clear winner. I say this is what we want to know about. So thank you. Just to review, there are different categories of the elements of living. We have influencers, distractors, door openers, discoverers, outlaws, the powers, the different landscapes and worlds, and celebrants. And when it comes to code breakers are actually under the discoverers, and they're all about the ever-present discoveries, kind of like what we talked about with the star seed and the grave digger. Those are also under the category of discoverers. So I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Yes. Okay. And interesting. Oh, there it is. Okay. Like, it's like hiding the comments a little bit. So it might need to give me a moment before it shows me the comment, but yes. Okay, we're here. So with code breakers, yes, they're discoverers. It's all about discovering more and more of you, but also the world. And it looks at past, present, and future as well in a different way. Now, here's the trickiness with code breakers. And we talked a bit about this in the magical art taster that we did when we were actually creating our treasure chests that were representative of our gifts and capacities in this visual sense. So we used painting and art and energy and water and movement to embody this. And I can show you mine again at some point if you'd like. You can also scroll through some of our media in our group, and you'll see some of the pictures of not just my treasure chest, but some of the people that were in that magical art taster. And some others that didn't post it up, but maybe you can get some of the energy of it. And one of the things that we talked about is that with code breakers, they're often mixed up with number crunchers. It's completely different. There's some overlaps. It's kind of like the distinction we made between door openers and gatekeepers. It's different. So code breakers, well, actually number crunchers, let's clarify that. So number crunchers are those that are often like walking calculators. So it's like your friend that is counting all the time, like, okay, who paid the bill last time versus this time, or okay, last time you paid $20, so this time this is a $30 bill, so there's a $10 difference, and it's like a lot of tit for tat. And also like when someone gives you a gift in the past and they use the kind of gift or the quality of gift, the price of the gift to guide the type of gift that they're going to give to you this time around. So all of those types of things as well. Gosh, I've even had it where it's like, oh, I have the competition between some of the parents that I work with, where they'll say that one parent is comparing the grades of one person's children to their children's grades. And so then they start embroiling their kids into this number crunching calculation stuff. And this can get these number crunching behaviors and these calculations then can get locked in our bodies and our reality. So then we start feeling that that's really important and valuable. I know a lot of people create this tit for tat number crunching as a response to trauma, because they've had people in different relationships that they've used that against them, like, oh, well, I did this for you, so you should do this for me, and and all this like obligation energy, instead of, you know, doing things from a sense of gratitude, from just a generosity of spirit. They start mimicking those people, or they start thinking, I guess this is what I need to do to prevent those arguments or prevent that type of blow up or something like that to show up. Maybe that's something that's relevant for y'all. Who are the number crunchers in your life? And I'm going to put that question in the chat. So the people that are constantly pointing things out to you as to, oh, you did this, or you owe me this. There are parents that will do that to their kids, like, oh, well, I paid child support, so for the rest of your life, you owe me your life, you know, like that whole thing. And this piece to that, and they'll use that to guilt trip and to control and to manipulate. And so some of us have had parents and caregivers or teachers and educators, mentors, important people in our lives, including partners as well, like I mentioned, that have done this to try to control us. And so when we're not willing to be the energy of a code breaker, which is different, I'm going to talk about what it is and the difference between them in a moment. When we're not willing to really be the energy of a code breaker that we already have the capacity to be, we are at the effect of number crunchers, and we're at the effect of their perspective of, and their attempts to try to control us, try to control situations. And some of them are doing it unconsciously, especially those that are doing it because of past relationship dynamics or past family dynamics. They don't know that they're doing this, and that it's actually can feel a little bit constraining and oppressive. And that level of control, as much as it's, oh, they're trying to do it as a way of like honoring and like not having conflict, it can feel really tight, you know. Now code breakers, code breakers, the difference with them is that code breakers, they unlock codes to the messages from spirit, to the universe. They unlock codes to your body. You can use code breaking and the energy of this for any area of your life. We're going to be talking perhaps about this if it comes up as the element of living that's going to contribute to the most to everybody in the call. We have this upcoming call on business, because people are asking, well, I would like to do better with business, and I feel like I'm in survival mode all the time with business. I'm in the hustle and not in really what I know is possible with business, with ease with it. And so we have a call on November 2nd, I believe it is, where it's, are you living or dying with business? And we're going to be talking about the different elements of living that will help you thrive in business, including the business of living, but definitely like online businesses and those that would like more clients and more money and maybe residual and passive income and things like that. And so with that, the code breakers, you can actually see it's about where you have patterns in your choices in your life, where you repeat them on a loop, and then you start locking that in your body and in your reality. So where are those areas of your life in which you are looping over and over and over again? Like maybe you're trying to do business over and over and over again the same way, or maybe the same way is everybody else's way. You're trying to do what this person does and this person does and this person does, instead of doing business your way. And so that's the code to break. That's the pattern to shift on. Okay. So thanks for the hearts. Hi, Shaima. Hello, honey. Big kiss to you. And so, one of the things that the being this energy of the code breaker can invite you to is with business as well, just so you can kind of get this little bit, because there's so much here, but is that it brings up the symbols, the numbers, those algorithms, the codes, the secret languages, like how to express yourself your way, have your voice in business, have your voice in your life. Like I definitely use this as a speech language pathologist and learning behavioral specialist. I try to look and unlock what is the way that this person communicates, what is the way that this person learns, what are their interests, their strengths, and then how can I use those strengths to propel them forward so that they have more success academically, socially, in whatever area it seems to be impacting them negatively in the school environment or in their life. You know, they come to me in different ages. And so I meet them wherever they are, whoever the client is, and then see, okay, where can we start off with here? And then let's keep unlocking and breaking the codes. And I'm literally often doing this energetically with their body and their reality to like break out this information. And a lot of them, you know, especially the really young ones, they don't have a voice. They're not verbally talking with me, but then we can actually tap into the energetic language and actually speak with their bodies and have their bodies whisper to you what are the things that's going to work for it to thrive. So that is really, really cool. So many examples with this. What questions do y'all have so far? Put them in the chat. Let me know. What does this remind you of, or what comes up for you around this? Because there's even, you know, there's other examples, like when it comes to language. I love the piece of code breaking in language, but I'm like a language geek, right? Like I love languages, and there's soul languages, there's light languages, there's characters from different languages, like around the world that exist right now, and then also the languages that don't exist anymore, but that you can maybe recall from your past lives. For those of you that believe in past lives, like you don't have to believe in past lives, like I've mentioned in other things, to benefit from the elements of living. But I definitely have gotten told by clients who've received the living and dying body process sessions, which is where this information is coming from, and including my experiences with clients from speech and language and academic learning and all these different things, and family and friends, that when they actually are receiving sessions, it's like they're hearing a language from a past time or a different dimension sometimes. It sounds like a song, and they're like, wait, but I don't know what they're saying, but I do know what they're saying. How is that possible? I've never heard this before. And so it can sometimes unlock this information, these languages that we've spoken before. There's a lot of charge with this. Wow. I also get that a lot of my my friends here in our group who are very talented with languages, not just the interpreters, but just a lot of us that have an affinity for languages, that there is this piece where there is a love of code breaking that they might not have acknowledged yet. There's a comment in the chat. It reminds me also of money that is becoming more and more a series of virtual numbers. Yeah, like currency as well, the cryptocurrency, you know, absolutely. Hi Sabrina, nice to see you. Hi Sabrina. And so that's why it's really important to be willing to be this code breaker energy, to be totally aware of your financial reality as well. We're going to be starting up the Money Your Way group again. And for those of you that remembered it, and for those of you that don't remember it, it was a group where we would focus completely on all these different tools to have money and your financial reality your way. And the code breaker is a huge piece of this, because if you're not willing to be aware of all of those algorithms that you're using to stop your financial reality from actualizing and showing up, you don't actually get to have it. You keep asking for it and trying these different things, but it's like another one of those loops. And what if we can get out of those loops? And I love facilitating that and helping people access their financial reality. And it's going to be different for each person, you know. Thank you for the compliment about my smile. I wish I could see your smile right now. Maybe you can post a little photo of yourself there. I appreciate that. So code breakers, the other piece that is big for this, and so important and timely right now, given what's going on in the world, is it also affects DNA and RNA and all these genetic codes. So I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of children who have chromosomal disorders, very rare disorders that, you know, you don't even have a name for them sometimes, where it's just like XQRL, and you have to put in the code, and then they give you some of these attributes, and like it's 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 1,000,000. And I just got a message from one of our group members the other day that just was saying that her daughter was just diagnosed with a very rare condition that's one of those 1 out of 1,000,000. And one of the things that I invite you to, if you catch this, and hopefully I'll remember to send you this video, is to actually invite her code breaker capacities to be activated, to come about, so that she can not be at the effect of her genetic code and of what's going on with her DNA right now. There's so many people that can change their genetic code in different ways, not like completely not have the body that they have, even though there is some aspects of it that we can talk about. But for instance, how many of you know that your DNA changes every 7 years? So for instance, like there's people that'll have allergies when they're 5, and then when they're 12, they're not allergic to those same things anymore. Their DNA has actually shed that and changed it to something else. Maybe they'll be allergic to something else instead, or maybe they won't have the allergies at all anymore. And so there's a lot of information here as to where we can play around with the science. The very research evidence-based stuff can intersect beautifully with these energetic tools. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I very much bounce around between the two. I love science. I went to Math and Science Academy. I value that. And I also am not going to wait for always having the evidence before I choose what's going to work. And a lot of these bodies are asking for that. And I get that our playmate's daughter might benefit from this, and maybe you know of some other people that would benefit from this. When I work with children who have Down syndrome, when I work with children who have, you know, Fragile X and things like that, there is this piece, because I'm willing to be a code breaker, so that it's not that I'm not going to acknowledge that they have Fragile X or Down syndrome. Yes, they do. Okay. And what if that wasn't the defining thing about them? What if I didn't put them in a box, that because of this diagnosis, because of how their DNA shows up, this is the only thing that they're capable of? I'm not going to define that or decide that for anybody. And I definitely don't appreciate it when people try to tell me what I'm capable of or not. I don't know about y'all. It's not really fun, right? So this is one of the things that we can use to invite people to be beyond definition, which is what our group Soaring Beyond Definition is all about. And so if you're here, you might be interested in that as well. I suspect. There's a comment in the chat. I love the Maniore group. It is so much fun to play with while translating it in French. Yes, thank you. And thank you for making it available to Francophones as well, that information. Oh, so for those of you that are going to the doctors, that are working in medical settings, that are around people that are ill right now, the code breaker energy is a great companion. I really invite you to ask for it to turn on in your bodies. And we're going to talk more explicitly about how to do that in the Are You Living and Dying with Business call, and in the upcoming Awakening class, where we actually teach the people that are in the class how to give and receive the living and dying body process. That's going to be November 13th. And so with this is, if you're going to a doctor's visit, if you're going or you're around somebody who is really ill, you don't have to be at the effect of it. If you're willing to be a code breaker, you will be unlocking your immune system continuously while you're around them. You will make sure that it is at a high vibration and ramped up all the time. And I do that. And I also ask my body, but I'm willing to speak to my body and know the language of my body. I remember we talked about body language and soul language and light language and all these different things. What I'm willing to ask my body, so what do you need to have your immune system way up? It might be the different activators and supplements. It might be vitamin C. It might be the movement and walking. It might be a certain body process that day and then a different one another day. What is it to keep it up? And so having this code breaker energy with you is going to help all areas of your life be more effective and more successful, because codes are everything. Codes are in everything. Fibonacci sequences in nature, where you're looping over and over again in different patterns of your life. It's the patterns of harmony and the patterns of disharmony in your life. And you get to be aware of it. And then that makes it so much easier to choose something different, because you're not like, I don't know. Yeah, you know. A comment in the chat: I perceive how much there is codes involved in all of those online tools for communication, like Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Yeah, all those different social media platforms absolutely have codes in them. Great awareness. And then how does that affect potentially business or how you connect with people or not? If you feel like there's an ease with you in navigating some of those platforms or not, if you're even interested in those platforms, because some of us are not interested in those platforms at all. We don't want to be on them at all. It's like, you know, and then the comment in the chat: how much are those codes, are getting in the way of our receiving each other? What would it take to be beyond physical distance with infinite ease and joy? Yeah. For me, it's like those social media platforms, it's just like a room. I treat all of them like a room, and I'm going in one room and out the other, and in another room and out the other. And so it's not about making them more significant than other rooms I might enter. And so are the people that are in this room people I want to interact with today? And yes or no, and see what that yes or no is with my body that day. And if it's a yes, I go there. And if it's a no, I don't go there. But also being aware of that, to get really, really clear and loud what my yes is, because sometimes we're picking up on other people's no's. And so we think that it's our resistance, that it's like a totally not going to contribute to us in our lives, when it's actually everyone else's resistance to those platforms, or something that was just posted on that platform that blew it up and that everyone's really angry about. And then we're aware of that anger and we're like, I don't want to be around that. Let me not log into blah, 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 to Instagram today or to TikTok today because of this is blowing up, versus like, oh, that's just a room I could not go in right now, or maybe check in later. Like who's all in that room? What's all happening? And is it relevant to me? Or is it just something that my antenna is going boop, 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 and picking up on? Yeah. Oh, and then you're using code breakers with your painting practice. Yeah, that could, or, oh, you would like to. Yes, that could absolutely help with art. And because a lot of there's a language there. There's a language everywhere. There's an energetic language, and there's a bunch of other languages in everything that we do. That's part of why I love what I do. Is there was something that I knew when I was 18 and I chose to do speech language pathology. There was what I learned in undergrad and grad school with my different degrees, but then it just opened the door to so many other languages that I was already aware of, and so many more that I could be aware of. And that's this piece that I think you're bringing up with business and with art. My dad's a surrealist painter. Hi, Papi, wherever you are. I think he's in this group too. I'll try to remember to send him the video as well. And with that, there are messages that he receives as he's painting. There could be very prophetic, like he has a very prophetic gift with his artwork. And for some of us, it can be very scary and intimidating if we don't know what to do with those messages. If we've been told that it is voodoo, or it is wrong, or it's connected with the devil to get these messages. No, it's not. It's just messages. Just like when you get an email from somebody, or you get like somebody posts something on Facebook, it's just a message, and you can choose to do with it or not. You can delete it, you can ignore it, you can read it, you could underline it, you can do different things with it. It's just a message. It's just a message. And I think there's a lot more messages possible for us when we be this energy of the code breaker our way. And for each of us, it's going to be a little bit different. And then the areas of our lives that we really want to ramp it up and increase our use of it is going to be different and unique for each of us. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the code breaker discussion. I'm going to pop in a new poll because we've knocked out a bunch of these, and I'm really excited. I'm going to put a little bit more of the outlaws, because we haven't talked about any of the outlaws yet. And maybe some of the celebrants or some of the different landscapes and worlds. We've talked about the dreamland, and then that's it. That's the only landscape or world that we've talked about so far. So if you know of some already that you'd like to learn about, pop it in the chat. Would you prefer to talk about the different landscapes and worlds, the celebrants, or the outlaws next out of those three? Because I'd really like to at least get one of each of those before we finish this month of conversations. And then, are you enjoying this to the point where you'd like it to continue past the month of September? Let me know. I'm really just doing this because other people were asking for more information about this. There are so many, and we're only kind of skimming the surface of each of these in these little, quick videos about them. As you can probably tell from our discussion so far, there is a lot here for each of them. And yet I love it. I love talking about them. And so if you want more, I will provide more. So just let me know. And hopefully you'll get to join us in the Are You Living or Dying with Business call? It's right here. I'm going to pop the link in our group here. Are you living or dying with business? And that's going to be November 2nd for most parts of the world. I believe it's at like 6 p.m. New York. Yeah, and I use New York just because it's the same time zone that I'm in. So for some of you in Europe, you might be asleep or you might take a little disco nap and then come and join us afterwards. I would love to see you either way. And we're going to be providing the replay for it. But send in your questions if you choose to do it and you can't make it on live. Send your questions if you catch this as well as a replay. I check back continuously throughout the day and throughout the week about what you're posting under here, under any of the videos. And if you haven't checked all the videos that we've done so far, we've done a bunch of them. Go ahead, and they're in our video section of our group. They're in the features and announcements section, and they're pinned for right now. And then you can also just go through the different videos and check back in. They're very much worth revisiting. I kind of look at the whole album of the videos and I see which one's pulling at me, and that's probably the one that's going to contribute to you today. Because one of the things I ask every day is, what element of living will create the most today? And then see which one is like, yeah, that one, and then go from there. And it's going to be different every day, and it might be a different combination each day too. Okay, have fun. Thank you so much for being here and watching, and I'll see you next time, next Monday, same time. Bye.